guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you don't know me, I'm Faye, and I'm currently doing my exchange year in the United States. Today I have a video for you guys on how to become an exchange student. I've made a couple of videos about my exchange year, and I've gotten a lot of comments about how you become an exchange student. So I thought, why not make a video about it right now? Because at this point you can still apply for an exchange year in 2024. So I just thought I'll go through the whole process with you guys from beginning to end, and I'll just show you how it went with me, and I'll share my experience and my struggles and everything. So let's just get started. I made some notes on my iPad, so if you see me look down sometimes, that's because I'm scrolling through my notes because I had to organize this video. The first thing you gotta do is decide if you want to go on an exchange year. My tips for that is just to go onto YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, and look up things about exchange years and just scroll through their pages and stuff, and you'll find a lot of information. Me personally, I already knew I wanted to go on an exchange year, and I've looked at so many YouTube videos, TikToks, Instagram pages, everything. Another tip is that you could always DM an exchange student if you find their Instagram page. I got in contact with some exchange students, and I felt like that really helped me. And I've also received a lot of DMs since I got here, and I try to answer everybody and just give them tips because those people know it the best. They went through it themselves, and you can get a lot of advice from those people. Once you've decided you want to go on an exchange year, it's important to know which country you want to go to. I already knew I wanted to go to the United States from the beginning. That was the whole reason I wanted to go on an exchange year. But there are also a lot of other countries you can go to. You can learn different languages. You can go to Spain, learn Spanish, Costa Rica, or you can go to Japan or to Australia. Like, a lot of things are possible. So I would recommend just think about which language you might want to improve, which culture seems really cool to you, and just go off on what you see on social media, I would say, and kind of make your choice. But you can still like have a few options. You don't have to have it narrowed down already. The next step is to choose with what organization you want to do your exchange year with. There are a lot of things you can look at. I would recommend ordering catalogs from every organization that you're looking at. This is really easy to do. It's free. You can just go to their websites and order their catalog. It will explain the program they have for exchange students. It will show you all the countries you can go to, and it will just give you more depth in the organizations. You could also just look at their websites. It will hold a lot of information. And again, you could look on social media, just type in the organization's name and look up what pops up, and maybe contact exchange students that are going with that organization and just ask them questions about the organization. If they like it, if they like their choice, I feel like they're always going to be honest to you, so don't be scared to just send out a DM. I have given my personal opinion about my organization and other organizations I looked into to people, so they could go off of my advice and they could look into it themselves. Things you can look into in the organizations are like different prices. I feel like all the prices are kind of the same, but they sometimes kind of differ. Welcome scam could be different with different organizations. Some organizations don't have a welcome scam. My organization had a welcome scam to New York, and I really liked the way they did it. And there are some other things you can look into. Some organizations won't let you go when you're 18. Some other organizations would. There are just all little details, and I would really recommend doing it because you just want an organization that you can trust and that you like and that you feel comfortable with, because they are gonna plan out your whole year. It's just really important that you like the things they do and how they handle stuff. I did some online meetings due to COVID and stuff, and those really helped me get information about an exchange year in general. But I felt like the meetings I went to in person from different organizations really gave me an idea on how the organization works and what the organization is like. So based off those meetings in person, I made my decision to go with the organization I went with. Once you figured out which company you want to go with and where you want to go, the next step is signing up. Signing up is really easy. You just go to the website, fill in some information, and you're signed up. It only takes like 5 minutes max, and you just signed up for a whole year, and it legit doesn't feel like it, but it's that easy. Once you've signed up, you'll probably get a confirmation email and a call. They're just gonna check on you, check if everything is correct. Once that's done, you'll get an email that you have to sign these papers, and your parents have to sign them, that you're really gonna go through with it, and it's like payment confirmation and everything. Once everything is signed, the real process is gonna start, and you're gonna start with your student application. student. This is like the most important part of signing up for an exchange year, is that you put time into your student application. Your student application is going to be what host families are gonna see who are willing to host you. That's all the information they're gonna get, and that's the information that's going to your American school. It's just everything, and based on that profile that you made, host families are gonna choose you. With my organization, we have 15 different topics we had to fill out, and it took forever. There is going to be a deadline. Mine was March 31st, I feel like, and that's when you have to get your application done and send in, because that's the latest time that they will publish it. And after it's published, host families are going to be able to see your profile. Host families are not going to be able to see everything on your profile. They're only going to be able to see a few of those topics, but as soon as they pick you, I feel like they're going to be able to see your whole profile. So it's just important that you do everything right. And obviously the organization is going to go over it, and they're going to look through your profile before it's getting published. I've written down all the 15 different topics I had to do, and I'll just share them with you guys right now. I saved my application so I can see it on my iPad right now, and I'll put it in this video right next to me so you can kind of see how it will look like. The first topic is student information, and it's just your name, a picture of yourself, your address, your parents' information, all that kind of stuff. The second one is personal information. It goes a little bit more in depth. It's brothers and sisters, and it's about languages you speak, and it has some personal questions about yourself. The third one is mini bio, and I feel like this is one that's going to be published to your host family. So it's really important that you fill this one in very well and really be honest with your application. Like the thing I did, I was honest in my application. I did exaggerate in my student application, and it worked out in my favor because I was really onto the fact that I really like sports, and I'm this sports type of girl, and I got placed in a family that loves sports. I would recommend exaggerate in things you like, but still be honest, be yourself, because you obviously want the best match. For example, you have to fill out stuff like what your character is like and what your interests are like. The fourth one is an allergy form. They have to know if you have allergies and everything, because you're gonna live with a family. So if they might have like cats or dogs and you're allergic to it, you can't be placed there. So it's obviously important that you fill this out correctly. The fifth one is your grades from your school back home, and it went 3 years back. So I had to give all the grades from 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. The sixth topic is rules and agreement. It's important that you read through it. You have to sign it, obviously, but you have to know what the rules are, even though they're gonna go over it like 1,000 times. The seventh topic is student video, and oh my gosh, I never want to see my video again. It was so cringe and so awful, but it's so important. You gotta remember, host families are looking through profiles, and if they see a video of you, that's the best way they could get a vision of you. So try to be yourself in the video. Try to show as much as possible. I might put some clips of my video in this video right now so you could see it.
Hi, I am Feline. I am 17 years old and I'm from the Netherlands. Some things I really like to do is listening to music, reading books, watching films or series, creating social media content. I also really love my job. I love hanging out with friends and family, and I love watching sports games, and I also love playing sports myself. I look forward to going to the school in another country, just experience a lot of new different things, make new friends, try out new sports as cheerleading, and meet a new family, of course.
I just introduced myself. I was talking about my life. I kind of went over the student letter that I wrote, and I just kind of explained everything more in depth, and I just went from there. I did not show like my house and my friends and everything in there. I just filmed myself, and I know some people do it different. That's how I did it. If you want more tips on that, leave it down in the comments, and I might make some video about it, because I was looking online to find some videos about it, and I couldn't really find a lot personally, and I feel like that would have helped me. And if you struggle with that, please let me know, because the student video is the most important thing. Trust me. My host family even told me that they picked me due to my video. It was going between me and some other guy, and because that guy did not have a video and I did, and they really liked my video, that's why they picked me. So really put a lot of effort in that video and try to be yourself. The eighth one is a student letter. Just like the video, this is so important. Host families are gonna read this letter when they're looking through students. So be yourself, say everything you know about yourself, ask for advice, what other people think about you, explain your personality, say in the letter things you like, things you don't like. Really focus on the things you like though, because you want to get a placement and you don't want to get all negative and stuff. So for example, I explained that I really liked summer because I really love the warm weather, but I also explained that I would like winter winter with snow because it would give me an opportunity to learn snowboarding. So the things I went over is I introduced myself real short, then I talked about my personality, I talked about sports that I like and sports I would like to try. You really got to be open in your letter. For example, I did soccer back home and field hockey, and I explained that in my letter, but I also put down that I like to try new sports like cheerleading, and I would love to see football and basketball games, because you want to go on an exchange here with an open mindset and experience new things, because that's what the whole thing is about. I also explained like my life, like where I live, because my parents are divorced, and I explained what I like to watch on TV and all that kind of stuff. And I explained like what I like to do with my mom, what I like to do with my dad, what I like to do with my sister, so they kind of get an idea of what your personality is like. I once again went over my personality. I told them that I'm a girly girl, but I also loved sports. I also told them that I like to be outside, and I talked about the weather, so you kind of have an influence on what state you were going to. I don't think I really had an influence on that, but I felt like that in the moment. And I also talked about which countries I like to go on holidays to, which food I like, and I explained my goals for my exchange year. And obviously you end your letter polite. I ended with, thank you for considering hosting me. I'm excited to meet you and your family and start this new adventure together. Yours, Alina. Same goes for the letter. If you want me to go in more depth of my letter, please leave it down in the comments if you have any questions. I might make a YouTube video about my application video and application letter, because that's something I really struggle with, and I would like to give you guys some tips and recommendations for that, just to make it a bit easier. Then the 9th topic was student photos. You had to put in some photos of you, your friends, your family, and then you had to describe some things. So for example, if I had a picture with my sister and my dad, I wrote down that it was a picture with my sister and my dad and where it was, just to give them a little more of an inside look of your daily life back home. These pictures had restrictions though. Make sure they're like kind of formal pictures, that they're of good quality, and that there are no things involved like alcohol and stuff, because that just doesn't look good on a profile. I also put pictures of me at my work, so I explained that a little bit so that those host families really could get a good inside look of my life back home. Next up is your birth certificate and passport. You just have to scan those in, upload them, and you're done. It's just legal papers that you have to do. The 11th topic is your LTIS test and additional forms. The LTIS test was the English test I had to do. Trust me, it's not that hard. We also first had a practice test, which was really similar to the real test, so you know what you could expect. So don't stress about it too much. The topics that they touched on was listening, reading, vocabulary, grammar, literal comprehension, and inferential comprehension. I eventually scored a 780 out of an 800, so it really wasn't that hard. You'll nail this test. Don't be nervous about it. The 12th topic is certificate of health, and you have to print out these forms, go to your doctors, and they have to fill them out for you, get them signed. It's for insurance and stuff, and it's so they know that you're healthy, and that's all they want to know. So you just have to make an appointment with your doctor, get it signed, and it's done. Next is the immunization certification. This is a certificate for all the vaccinations you need before you go. This obviously differs for which country you're going to. I had already almost every vaccination because I got when I was a kid, and you have to fill out all the dates and stuff when you had them, so make sure you have all those dates. I only have to get 2 other vaccinations. Make sure you make an appointment for that and just get it over with, because if you don't get them, you're not allowed to go into the United States in my case. The next topic is school record transcript. You don't have to do this one yourself. Your company is gonna do it based on your school grades from back home, because in America they grade schoolwork differently. They go off to A, B's, and C's and stuff, and back home we had a skill from like a 1 to a 10, so they convert it for you and put it in there, so you don't have to do anything for this one. The last one is teacher recommendation. You have to go to your English teacher for this one, and the teacher has to fill out some things, their personal information, and the teacher has to write a little bit about you, how your English is, and why you would fit this program, and answer some questions about your English level. Once you get all these things done, your application is finally ready to be submitted. So after the deadline of your personal application, you just have to wait. Your profile's up there, host families are looking at it, and you have no clue. Trust me, it was the hardest part for me. I was just waiting, and everybody's asking, oh my god, are you going on an exchange here? Where are you going? And the only thing you can answer is, I don't know. I'm going to America. I don't know where, don't know what state, don't know which high school, don't know which host family. You have no clue. It could be anything. I got my placement in the beginning of June, but we had a pre-departure meeting at the end of June, and I feel like they said something that 50% of the people got a placement. So don't worry if you don't have your placement before July. I know it could be be frustrating, but just be a bit patient and just wait, because trust me, you'll get one. So the next thing I want to talk about is the pre-departure meeting. The pre-departure meeting for every company, I feel like, is a bit different from the stories I've heard, but mine was just one day and it was one meeting where everybody came together, was going to leave in the summer of 2023, and it just didn't matter to which country you were going to. It was one general meeting. We arrived, you had to sign up with your names, and what I really liked about my company personally is that those people who I've met one time before still recognized my name and my mom's name and everything. So that was like big bonus points for my company, I gotta say. But you gotta sign up, and then we went to some sort of place and they had all kind of food and drinks there, and you could just get whatever you wanted. So that was really awesome. And after that, you were going to this big auditorium, I think you could say, and everybody took a seat and you were just waiting until the presentation got started. So when the presentation got started, first the people from the company were explaining a lot of things you might wanted to know. They went over all of the rules and just everything. I can't even remember everything they were saying. I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty boring. Everybody was kind of being on their phones, kind of listening, and that was because they were just telling stuff that everybody already knew. Like, if you're going on an exchange year, it's a big decision you make in your life, so obviously you already looked into it and already knew kind of everything before you even signed up. And if you didn't know it before you signed up, you would discover it throughout the process. So me and my mom personally thought it was kind of boring, but whatever, we just sat there, kind of listened, and we got through it. Luckily, it was not only the people from the organizations talking, it was always like they were talking, then some previous exchange student did a whole presentation about their exchange year, then they would talk a little bit, another exchange student came up, gave a presentation, so it went on like that. And I hate to say it, but you could really see everybody pulling up their phones when the people from the organization started talking, and as soon as they quit and a previous exchange student came up to talk, everybody was listening and paying attention. After that, all the exchange students that were leaving in the summer of 2023 were divided into groups, and those leaders were the previous exchange students. With your group, you would find a place. We just sat outside, and my previous exchange student leader was just talking about her exchange year. We could ask her all kinds of questions. They were answering everything honestly. We also got like some situations we got to go over, so they would give us examples of situations and we would have to say what we would do if we would end up in that situation. That was kind of boring to do, but it was good because you heard everybody's thoughts, and it was like, what if you don't like your host family because this and this, what would you do? And you knew what you had to do, like who to reach out to, everything. Meanwhile, our parents still sat in that auditorium and they got another like presentation for the parents only, how they would have to deal with that and everything. I don't really know what was going on. My mom told me it was a bit boring, but you know, it's good that they do that. When we were done, we got our tags for our luggage and our backpacks. After we received that stuff, you could just get some drinks and talk to everybody you wanted to from the company, previous exchange students, other exchange students that were going on an exchange year. There are two topics I haven't really touched on, and one of them is getting your visa. And oh my gosh, I would have wished I could have skipped this part of the whole process. Getting your visa was awful. You had to like wait up until like sometime in June, I think it was, to get the form sent out to you from your company that you could apply for your visa. I got a G1 visa. You had to wait for papers. I don't know why that took so long. And then you have to make an appointment. You have to fill out all these things and basically have to answer no to every single question, because if you answer yes, you won't be able to get a visa. That's like all forms online and stuff. And then you have to make an appointment for the American embassy. And I don't know why, but it's so hard to get like an appointment in a short period of time. So I feel like the first appointment I got was like in August or something, or September, and you just have to check every single day, like multiple times a day on that website to get it closer to like a day in June or July, because you obviously have to get your visa before you departure. And it was so stressful to get that appointment in time. It was awful. Once you get your appointment, you have all these papers that you have to print out, and they have all these restrictions, like it cannot be folded and it has to be printed a certain way and in color, and you have to get your photo taken with certain measurements, and you have to get this all right. If you don't do it the right way, or you have the paper a little bit folded or something, they'll send you back as soon as you arrive at the embassy. I was standing behind people, they didn't get it right, they could go back and they had to make a new appointment. So make sure you get everything right. So when I arrived, I was 18. My mom wasn't allowed to go with me because I was 18, so I had to go alone. And if you go, you're not allowed to have phones or anything. You have to go through security like you were in the actual airport. It was pretty crazy to me. So they recommended like don't take a phone, only take car keys and leave everything in your car. So I left everything with my mom. I did not wear a belt or anything like that because I just didn't want to risk anything. So once I was inside, I went into the line and there was this lady and she grabbed the right forms for me, put a sticker on my passport and something, and you had to wait in line again. When it was finally your turn, there was somebody who was talking to you, asked a few questions, not a lot, and they wanted all of your 10 fingerprints, and they folded one paper vertically. I don't know why, but it had to be like that, so that was the reason that you weren't allowed to fold it yourself. And after that, you had to go with your passport and paper and stuff into another lane. And while you were standing in that lane, you had to watch some sort of video. I didn't really watch it. I don't really feel like people do, but you had to watch it. And when it was your turn again, you really had to talk to somebody. Everything was in English, by the way. They were only talking English. They had to scan all of your fingerprints again. They took your passport and stuff again, and they were asking me all kinds of questions, so be prepared. They were asking me what I was going to do, who I'm gonna live with, like where I was going, what school I was gonna attend, like what were my future plans. I thought it was safe to say that you come back and go and study in your home country, so they know you're planning on coming back. So I would recommend saying something like that. And after that, they took my passport, and I got that folded paper back because that was like one part of my visa, and they were gonna send me my passport with the other part of my visa printed in there later. I'll grab my passport real quick and show it to you guys. I don't really know how much I'm supposed to show on the internet, but this is kind of how it looks like, and they put like a sticker like that on the back, and then you had this whole form that they folded. And I got my passport sent back to me within a week, so don't worry about that, you'll get it back really quick. The last topic I want to touch on is getting your placement. I got my placement in the beginning of June, which is pretty fast considering when I uploaded my student application. And I actually knew my placement before my company sent it out an email. I remember I got my placement on a Sunday because my host mom and host dad were like starting to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, my mom's Facebook. And mom was like, this is suspicious. This really looks like an American family. This could be your potential host family. And I was like, nah, that's probably not true. And she was like, I'm just gonna shoot them a message and ask them. So she sent them a message, asked them, and they were like, yes, we're going to host your daughter. So later on they realized that they weren't allowed to already send me a message. They were just that excited, and because the company's like closed on a Sunday, the first thing on a Monday morning I got my placement confirmation. After I got my placement, I just started texting with them through Facebook, iMessage, I don't really know how it's called. I'd recommend get a Facebook page. Like I never post on Facebook anything, but I got one, and that's what a lot of Americans have. Like back home it's really a mom thing, but Americans, like even teenagers my age, they have Facebook. So I would recommend get a Facebook page so they could like look you up, search you, whatever. That's another thing I wanted to say though. Make sure if your page is like open or whatever to public that everybody can see it, that you have appropriate pictures on there. Don't put pictures on there with alcohol or like with really cropped tops and everything, because host families are gonna see it if they look up your name. And if it's like an open profile, you obviously want it to just look decent. So I made sure when my application went online that my page just looked good and that there weren't anything on there that I didn't want them to see. But yeah, I messaged kind of back and forth with my host mom, and we were just getting to know each other. She was sending pictures from their daily life. I was doing the same from mine back home, and it just gave me a really good feeling before I left because I already texted with them. I personally did not call with them before I went. I didn't feel the need to do it. I know some people did. I did not myself, but that's just your personal preference. Okay, well, I think I touched on to every single subject on how to become an exchange student, and I hope this video helped if you are willing to become an exchange student. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. I'll try to answer everything, and if you want to see more of my content, subscribe to my channel. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.